Yeah.
Does it look crazy?
Oh, that's dope too.
Wait,
Yeah,
these
that is
pants
dope.
are like they're sneaking up.
Hilarious.
Does it? Really?
You know what it is? It's the lighting. The lighting in here is gold right
No,
now.
no,
'cause
I'll
we
tell
got
you what
two.
I do.
And it's nice.
You're gonna like
Pause.
this, right? But sometimes it's the timing of it. You never see nobody lose their hair. We going by now? Okay. You never see anybody lose their hair on the sides and the back. You got the toilet bowl. It never loses. The middle, see, right now you'll never be able to tell because I got a little trick that I do. But you'll never be able to tell because unless you catch me slipping at my house and you show up out of nowhere, oh my God, Steve is here, get my hat. You know what I mean? So, but no. So this grows so much slower than this. So the night before, that say like today I wanted a presentable shaved head, you know what I gotta do? I gotta shave the middle. At night, I shave it at 10 o'clock at night. And I give it 10 hours because I do it in the morning. So then it just gets a little shadow, right? So then I do the sides. See how clean they are? So now it looks like this is stronger than this, but that's just an illusion. And it'll only last for about 4 or 5 hours because then this starts catching up. Then it's like, okay, I gotta go. It's like Groundhog Day. You see the shadow?
Well, in my community, we call it the George Jefferson.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Okay.
It's called the George
Terrell,
Jefferson.
that's my other boss, Kenny.
How you doing? Nice to meet you. Well, Kenny knows it's the George Jefferson.
Yo,
my head.
they call it the George Costanza from Seinfeld.
okay,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying?
No, you know what's even
We get
better?
it,
My
we get
friend, my friend used to have hair like this. You know what they used to call him? Yo, wait, you know what they called him? Shea Stadium.
Wow.
You heard that one, man? They used to call my
Wow.
boy because he only had the 12. They used to call him Shea Stadium.
Wow.
Hilarious.
The Grocer, that was his nickname, The Grocer, and Shea Stadium.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Culture Project. Today's a special episode. We got a special guest in the building. She goes by the name of Taral Hicks. Legendary Bronx Tale, legendary Belly, legendary Subway Stories. Like, she's been outside, famous singer, deals. And when she's just here to talk to us today, have some fun with us. I know y'all thought Lillo was going to introduce her because they got some history, Colorado, but it's not going to happen. She's from the Bronx, North Bronx to be clear, Gun Hill Road, Gun Hill Projects to be exact, and I'm from Gun Hill, Decatur. So let's just say I wanted to have some fun with my friend from the North. Let's get it. Let's get into it.
Thank you, my friend, for being on the show. Okay.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you, finally.
Nice to meet you too. I know this guy already.
And don't forget, I put a good word in for your nephew.
You did.
All right, so as he just said, you guys grew up in the Bronx, North
Yes.
Bronx, Gun Hill Road, right?
Yes.
Okay, so did you grow up with both parents?
I grew up with both parents who made my family go to church constantly.
Yeah.
So we grew up church environment. Pretty much we went to school, back home, night service. I was an off-Broadway kid, so I worked theater on the weekends with my sisters in a play, off-Broadway show called Mama Wanna Sing. So I started that at like 12, and I was a young kid making money.
Yeah.
Like, so the outside world really didn't matter to me because in my head, like, I was a wealthy kid, even though I was in the projects with them roaches. But I was a wealthy kid because I was doing things that 12-year-olds from Gun Hill were not doing. So yeah.
And you're also wealthy in the sense that you had both your parents.
Yes.
You had a great upbringing. How many siblings?
There are 4 siblings, 5 of us all together. So I have one brother and 2 older sisters and a younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were any of them trouble? Did they grow up with any?
Not really. I mean, for the most part, we really focused on our gifts. And my family is pretty much an entertainment family. My older sister was signed to Capitol Records, Taral Hicks, and she was a sensation in the late 80s, early 90s. And I just mirrored after her career. Miriam, she, again, another singer in the family. She traveled all over Europe in gospel plays and singing for foreign people that love gospel music. And then my younger sister, she was really small. She just focused on school. But now, you know, she's like the most educated one out of all of us as far as the work field outside of entertainment. She works in the medical field, and we call her the doctor. She's like, I'm not messing with y'all. Y'all can have all that entertainment stuff. It's too stressful. I'm gonna go get a real job.
Yeah. Well, that's sometimes the way to do it. Something more solid. But obviously, we all know now that you're multi-talented from your body of work, singing, acting. What would you say at a young age that you gravitated to more? What did you want to do more?
I definitely gravitated more to singing because of the Off-Broadway show. I started out as an usher there, but I really had the opportunity to marvel at the talent that was on stage, which obviously were adults.
Yeah.
And how I got up there, somebody didn't show up and they needed the spot filled. I'm in the audience singing the parts every night, just acting starstruck over these people on stage.
And how old were you?
I was 12.
12.
I was 12 years old. I was ushering and making a small check. But in my eyesight, my future view, I always saw myself on a stage. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get up there one day. And that day happened. And I took that opportunity. And I was like, I'm never going back to ushering because y'all going to keep me up here. And they saw, what they could cultivate in me. And so because of that, I stayed up there and I had a great time just performing and singing. But little did I know, although I was focused on the singing, I was also acting. So I was learning acting skills as well that I didn't even realize I was getting that experience because I was so focused on the singing. I'm going to stop there because I might
Do you think you were
answer all y'all questions at one time.
You were influenced by church? To do
Absolutely.
music?
Absolutely.
Are you
Because
still-
that's all we do in church is sing.
Yeah.
And of course, those are my roots. I'm never going to abandon that. It's a part of me. And yes, I still go to church this day and sing to the glory of God.
Did you notice that you had talent to sing at a young age when you were singing in church? And did other people tell you that?
I did because my mom was a musician. She played the organ and the piano. She was a church musician. My dad sang in quartet groups. So the very first song she taught me, obviously, was a church song. And when I got before the people to sing, I realized that they felt something. I impacted them in a way that I didn't really understand, because to me, it's my voice. I sing all the time. I don't feel this when I sing. What are you feeling? You know what I'm saying? So when I realized that people were affected by my voice in a good way, it was like, yeah, I want to do this. And whenever people gravitate to your talent in a good way, it makes you feel good. It inspires you to want to continue to do that craft or own in on that craft. So yes, so at 6, 7, I knew God gave me a voice.
Yeah, and you
I'm
had
going to use it.
all the positive reinforcement in the world.
Exactly.
You're being positively reinforced by all these people that are telling you and the way you're impacting them. Because you don't know what people got going on in their lives, but then you're
Exactly.
singing and just takes them out of that. And you see you impact them in that way. And it's almost like you got a special power to impact people and make them feel better through your God-given talents. And the fact that you recognize that at a young age is just a really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And you were, from a great family. And I can vouch that the family sings because I was just at her birthday party and everybody was singing.
Everybody was singing.
Every
was
whole family,
inspiring
one go on the
grown-ups.
stage, come off the next one. But that was beautiful.
Thank you.
Sometimes I look at that and, my family, we were well adjusted, but that kind of stuff, I think, I wish we would have went to church more and stuff like that as a family younger. And I think it could have kept us closer together but it's, you can't change that now, but that's really a beautiful thing.
To each, to everybody in their beliefs and what you believe, but I do believe that you should have something in your life that grounds you, that make you think about perspectives and what's important and right from wrong.
How about balance?
And balance.
No, but the word balance can't ground you. You can't use that as balance, to have balance.
Yeah.
Would that necessarily come down to?
It does.
Balance.
Yeah, balance.
I'm trying to master that now.
Yeah, and striking a balance.
Yeah.
With everything. Everybody's balance is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Your balance is different than that, strike the right balance for
Exactly.
you. Based on your personality, based on the time that you have to do certain things. It's got to be balanced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's levels. It's levels.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
levels to balance. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you had a lot of this going on, and now you know.
Yeah.
Just by the way people are reacting. You're multi-talented.
Yeah.
You have a couple of things going on. You can
Yeah.
sing, you can act, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when did you first hear about A Bronx Tale and the open call audition? But you mentioned that you knew Robert De Niro prior to that for something else?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, I thought it was
did not. The funny thing is I didn't know him at all. I didn't know him at all. I didn't know any of his work.
Oh, really?
I didn't know any of his work. So
Who that? De Niro?
De Niro. The show was closing down.
So y'all didn't watch Goodfellas as kids?
No.
No, you mentioned the music deal with Tommy Mottola.
Well, that happened after.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought
happened after.
Oh, I thought De Niro.
She was
met
supposed
you.
to be on the soundtrack of the Bronx Tale
Yes.
joint.
Yeah, I was.
What happened?
I don't know. Something happened with trying to fit this right song, and
Yeah,
that
it
didn't
wasn't
happen.
hitting.
But then he made it up in a bigger way. You know,
Well, at least-
he got me signed to Epic. So there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
So it's
But-
better off it happened that way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Everything
I guess.
happens for a reason, certain ways.
Right. Everything happens for a reason. But the show was closing down. The off-Broadway show was closing down. And I had a lot of idle time, and I was just going back to school to be a regular high school kid. And I was like, no, like I need to be doing this. And so I know you guys are going to
And you're
remember
like
this.
17 around now?
Yes. 16 and a half.
Okay.
So you guys, I know you remember Ralph McDaniel's show.
Yeah, yeah. Video
Of
music
course,
box.
exactly. So I watched that constantly. I wasn't watching anything else, but I watched that because that came on the local channels.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
didn't really have
I
cable
didn't have
and all
cable
of that.
either,
No,
yeah. It
so
was pop.
it was what came on the television. That popped up, and my sister heard it, and she was like, "Robert De Niro's looking for a black girl. You need to go out for this." And I'm like, "Whatever. Okay, sure, whatever. I'll go for it." The show was closing down, was over. I was like, this is next. I need to do this. Let me try my luck at film and acting for real off the stage. So I went down to the audition, and oh my goodness, it was ridiculous.
What, like 9 million
It
girls
was-
reading for your part?
It was the biggest open call I think I've ever seen in all of the open calls I've ever gone to. This open call was, not only were they looking for an African American girl, but there were Latinos, there were Caucasian girls. Like, maybe I can change their mind because it's
Yeah,
Robert
yeah,
De Niro.
absolutely.
Maybe I can change their mind about what they
Make
want.
this shit an Italian love story.
Right. So
Dun, 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 dun,
exactly. So I went in. I said his name wrong. I'll never forget that audition because I was like, what kind of I was saying that to myself. What kind of name is this? Like, how do you even pronounce this? So when
You
I
didn't
read
read
it,
for Bob right off the
I
bat,
didn't
right?
read for him. No, it was just like in a little room where they were just seeing all of the first people, the open call auditioners.
right.
So when I went there, I was like, okay, and what? Caligerio? I was like, what? So then the person reading was, she was like, it's Calogero. Do it again. So then I did it, Calogero. And she's like, okay, thanks. Next. I was like, they're never calling me back. I laughed at myself. Like, I didn't even say the name right.
They put you on tape at that point, right?
They put me on tape. Yep. So
You got
I
those tapes?
waited. I don't have that tape, of course not. Whoever taped
I'm
it does,
sorry. Yeah,
though.
I'm sorry.
Come forth if you have
Come
it. Look,
forth.
come
We need that
forth.
clack. We need that
But-
that gold.
I saw Phil Garbarino's tape. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So they called. They told my mom, tell her to come back. We want to see her again. This time it was at Tribeca. And it was like maybe 50 girls.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it was like at a callback. So
Yeah. That's the way it was.
waited, went inside. The first time it was just Chaz. De Niro wasn't in the room. So waited, saw Chaz, did that audition. Passed that audition. They called again. Next time it was maybe like 20 of us. So they were chopping
Yeah,
the block.
they were filtering.
So
They
it's
were
like
chopping
20
the
of us.
block.
And so I just hear the girls saying, when one went in and came out, they're like, oh my God, De Niro's in the room. Bob's in the room. And I'm like, who?
I thought you were going to say, oh my God, Lilo's in the room.
No. 'Cause I didn't know you either. I didn't know you
His
either.
name is Bob De Niro?
Well, Robert, we call
They
him
call him
Bob.
Bob.
Okay.
So
Bobby!
they're like, Bob is in the room. And I'm like, okay. I don't know who Bob is, but I guess he's important. So
Yeah.
I really better do my thing this time
Impress
around.
Bob. Impress Bob.
So I go in there and I see Chaz is like smiling because I knew Chaz.
Prior.
You know, I didn't know him
No,
prior,
the
but I knew.
the meeting.
Well, yeah, the first audition. Yeah, prior, exactly. I knew him, and I knew that he liked me. I could tell. Like, so I was like, okay, I got him. Now, who is this? And then
The most famous actors in the world. Who's
it
this
was
guy?
right. Who is this? De Niro's in the room, and I read, and so he didn't say much. He just,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's that. I called again. It was like 5 of us.
Wow.
Yeah. This time, this guy was in the room.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, they already picked the guy. All right, well, don't be nervous. Just do what you got to do. You've come this far. You got this. You got this in the can. So I did my thing. And then like a few weeks later, they called back and told me I had the role. But now he's going to tell you the story behind that because he knew.
I was in the room.
He knew.
But did you ever read with Phil Garbarino? Because you know Phil was still up for my role until the screen test.
I never read for him.
You know why? Because Phil was 21, and we were younger. At first, the girls that I was reading with at first, Phil, the kid who shot Sonny, he was supposed to be my role. But then they found me, and Phil was 21, I was 16, and that fit 21, 6, that's a big difference at that age.
Yeah.
Huge.
That's a man and a boy.
Naomi had my role.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Naomi
Johnny
Campbell.
Depp, Naomi.
It was the whole cast was older, and so when they got me to you, I think they
but
had
Naomi Campbell would never have done
They-
as good as you,
well,
and you know.
they already decided that you had that role because I never saw the other guy until the premiere. I was like, oh, there was another one. I didn't even hear about the stories of the younger cast until it was over.
You were perfect.
Well,
Thank you.
she came inside. A lot of the girls they came in, they were very nervous. You know, you weren't nervous.
I didn't know him.
You got these girls because
That's what saved me.
they know this is for all the marbles. This is like I made it this far. I'm in the room with De Niro. This is where I want to be, right? So now this is it. This is my shot. I'm where I want to be. So you got girls coming in there like, you know, they were shaking, they were nervous. Then she came in, and I remember what got her the part. When she said, "What's your name?" I said, "Calogero," and she said, "Cahoo." The way you did that, but that's what got you the role.
Yeah,
That
he
shit is
tells me
still
Because I
classic.
remember,
Tells me
like,
that all the
De
time.
Niro, like, he didn't really say much about any of the other girls.
Yeah.
And then he would just say, who do we got next? And then you came in, and then when you left, he's just looking at
The
me.
breath?
Yeah.
The breath, that's killing me. Breathing like him is killing me.
Yeah, exactly.
What about when he pulls you over to try to give you
Oh,
direction in the
God.
scene? He's breathing in your ear for like 5 minutes, and then he says one word. Good. So what do we got me over here? But I knew she had that part. Bobby loved her. Chaz loved her. It's not that Chaz really had any say. I
Yeah.
guess Bobby made him feel like he did. But at the end of the day, this is my money. This is my movie. I know you wrote it, but I got to say they loved her, and
It was
that
it was a tedious situation. It was a one of a kind landing a role experience for sure, because they would call me and they would call my mom and they say, well, they're still deciding. It's between 3 girls,
But they knew.
but they would say things like, tell Taral, don't go, play in the sun. We love her complexion the way it is. We don't want to get any darker because it was summertime. It's like, we don't want to get any darker. Us black girls, we get in the sun. We really tan. So we'll be a whole nother complexion. They were like, no, we love this brown. This brown skin that she has right now. We love that. Tell her not to go in the sun. They knew, well, they would ask questions like, what did we like to do? I love to skate. I was always in Skate Key. Skate Key every weekend.
you remember Skate Key?
Yeah, in the Bronx.
Skating. So they
When I
were
was in
like,
Mount-
You was on the one on Allerton?
yes.
That's the one that
Yes.
was popping back in the
The
day.
line would be down the
We used
block.
to go to class trips to Skate Key.
Yeah.
So they would tell
I didn't
my
even have
mom,
the
tell her not to skate. Don't skate.
No skating.
So I'm like, y'all are ruining my summer. And if I don't get this role, I'm going to be upset because I'm a kid that want to have fun right now. I'm out of school. It's summertime and y'all got me cooped up in the house. Y'all better give me this role. And I got the role.
So when you were shooting already, were you still on Gun Hill?
Yes.
Okay, wow. So you
Yes.
did that movie Living in the Bronx and everything?
I did that movie living
whole
in
thing?
Gun Hill. Not the whole, well, the whole shooting process, yes. But we moved to Jersey, like, right after filming. Because I was like, we can't stay here. I'm going to be a star.
Any of your friends on Gun Hill knew that you were shooting for that
They
movie?
knew. They knew.
Probably the way they
knew.
treated you after that must have totally changed everything.
They knew.
So all right, take it back just a tiny bit. How did it happen? How did you find out that you got the part? How did you react? Where were you? Like, how did this go down?
I was in our apartment in Gun Hill. The phone rang because, you know, then we didn't have cells. That phone
Yeah, the
was
house
on the
phone.
wall. I was sitting by it. I was waiting by it. And every time it would ring, I would have like, I don't know, I would be so anxious to see if it was them. A couple of times it wasn't them. But then, but then that one time, they called, my mom answered the phone, and her tone changed.
Yeah.
Yes, it got really professional.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Oh, sure. I'll let her know. Oh, that's what. I was like, I got the role. She was like, you got the role, baby girl. I was like, oh, I got the role. We getting out the project.
Yeah. Let's get it.
Yo, but
Let's go.
I'm surprised they didn't tell you in person.
No, they called her and told her. And the funny thing is that we were on that train going down there because you know where Tribeca is,
Yeah.
you know, in the village. We were going, you know, on a train, going to the auditions, and it was a process. And, you know, back then for us, it was expensive, you know, to do
absolutely.
the back and forth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, my
as many times as we came down there, and I know you had the same thing
My
because you were
father's
coming
taking
from
me down every day, paying for parking and all
Exactly.
kinds of shit. Wow, it's a lot.
Exactly. And although my mom had a car at the time, she had a little red Sundance. Remember those? A
Okay.
little red Sundance. But it was just too much to try to find parking. And so we would
Especially
get on the train. We would park by my church on 116th Street in Harlem. And then we would get on the train and go down.
So straight down,
Yeah,
all the
and
way
go
down.
Yeah.
How was the parking situation on Gun Hill? I don't want to throw you off, but
For some reason, my mom and dad, they always found a park. They would park over there by the park. You know what a park was? There's a park like
before the train.
the train was on the opposite side by the grocery store, but then when you walk through the projects through the back, there was a park across the street.
Yeah. Magenta.
Yes,
Where they got the courts and all
exactly,
that.
Magenta. Oh my
Yeah,
God,
they
I
got the
haven't heard the
basketball
name of
courts
that.
What is
street.
that? Oh, it's a
Magenta
street?
is a
Yeah,
street. Yeah,
Magenta.
yeah. They would park down there, and I mean, for the most part, my dad was a truck driver. He got up really, really early, like 6 a.m. He was out for work. Maybe sometimes earlier, 5, and then he was working all day till like 6 o'clock, and he would drive their truck. So most times he would take the train in, or he would pretty much drive and always find a park. We never really worried about parking, but it's amazing to me because it was so many people that lived in there, but everybody found parks.
Oh, I hate that.
Or you were
You-
sitting in your car waiting for
Yeah.
one. But I don't remember us doing that too much.
Now it's horrible. It's over.
I'm
now.
sure.
Yeah, it's over
I'm
now.
sure.
Shit changed.
Yeah, it wrecks your car too. You fit your car, try to fit it in small spots, and
yeah.
your bumper gets ripped up.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I did that.
No, you're good.
I just wanted to find out about the parking situation.
No.
The parking is yeah.
Okay, so
Full.
now let's talk about you got the part,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're excited, but I'm sure you're nervous as well. Let's talk about your first day on set. What was that like?
My first day on set, I was just very observant. I watched a lot. I looked at how people conduct themselves. I'm like, okay, this is Hollywood. This is what they do. And I went in my little trailer. I know you were in yours. We really didn't visit each other a lot in the beginning because you hung out with the fellas a lot.
Yeah.
He stayed away from me. Like he
wanna read these
stayed
lines?
away from me. We didn't even ever really read lines together. We would just pop on set and
But
just
it was
do
good
our
though. It
thing.
worked. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you know what
we
it is?
never-
You know the lines too well. I think you
Yeah.
become like robotic.
Yeah,
you know
true.
that sometimes there's got to be some of that spontaneity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, because I always found this for myself, right? Because I never acted before. I never did. You did have a little experience, but I just think like I wasn't really, you had some training and stuff. I did none of that. So now I show up on this set, right? And I see all these big trucks. Every department's got its own truck. You're like going to the set and it's like 9 million people. And that's
9
very,
million.
how intimidating is that for a kid?
It was very intimidating. It was like, but at the same time, this is the life. And I want to stay in this. because this is like top-notch treatment that we're getting here.
Yeah.
We had the breakfast Winnebago station. We had candy all over the set. And like for us that had to scrap and put change together to buy these things at school, you know, it's just here. Free. Just
everything
out.
at your disposal.
Yeah.
And
Everything.
if you could tell somebody else, I need a water, you get 9 people within 2 seconds. Hey, water.
Exactly. Everybody was just whatever you needed. They were there. I got my hair done every day, washed and and set into. Thank you. Washed and set into Jane's little styles that she had to do. So it was the treatment. I mean, I felt like a rich girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, for me, like sometimes I think that all that stuff and all that distraction, it used to kind of intimidate me in a way where I think it kind of maybe affected my performance. Because it's like, now I'm so nervous because I'm coming on this set and I see all these like grown-ups. He's got his own big tractor trailer. Those are the grips. Those are the electricians. So now I'm saying to myself, all these people are here because of little old me. I'm a 16-year-old kid. I never did this. Now all this is riding on me and my performance. The longer it takes me, the longer they got to stay at work. Yeah. And I just think like if I was to do like when we do our thing, our movie, and, you know, the part with the daughter, I'm just from learning from that, okay? I don't know if I think sometimes, especially if we find an unknown girl the way they find us, because I want to do something like that, a 30-year anniversary, get somebody, you know, just history repeating itself. I mean, obviously I'm not going to have the money to have all those big trucks, but at the same time, I think I could use that to my advantage and to the advantage of the young actress. Because when she comes on set, I feel like sometimes I do my best work when it's a closed set. You know, when sometimes there's a love scene or whatever, like a real emotional scene. They don't let everybody on the set. Yeah. They only let the cameraman, the people that need to be there, sound guy. And I always felt that when there were less people on set, I worked better. I wasn't as nervous. I don't know.
I mean, I can understand how you feel. Yeah. For me, it's the total opposite. I grew up around it, you know, watching people on stage. The show that we were in, we traveled to Japan, and I met Janet, and I've met Ken Fields at a really early age because of the exposure. I'm talking between 12 and 14. I experienced all of this. I've been to Japan twice with that off-Broadway show. So I, in a sense, saw something bigger than where I was as far as my family dynamic, where we lived. I always knew that there was something bigger than this. Like, we're not staying here. This is like half a step of where we're going.
As a youngin'.
Exactly.
12 years old, making $300 a week.
Exactly. And my sisters, like, they were banking too. Like, they were traveling and, you know, doing so much stuff. So I just knew, like, one of us we were going to hit. Somebody was going to hit, and the life or the trajectory of our lives were going to change.
So while people was out here playing catch and kiss, you was on Broadway.
Exactly.
Yo, this is crazy. I love it, man.
Off Broadway, but still, it was a recognizable show that went on for almost over a decade, and just really blew up in Harlem and a staple. And I was a part of that, and that's where I got my training, and that's where. Well, that's what prepared me for Bronx Tale.
Was Robert De Niro aware of this, that you had this experience?
I'm not sure. No, they just thought they found me. Like, this girl would, you know, we just found her. But God knew, and I was prepared.
So how was your experience shooting the movie?
My experience shooting in Bronx Tale was great until Bob broke his, like, little ankle, and then we had a hiatus for a while. Remember that?
Yes.
Like, they stopped film production for like a month or 6 weeks, something like that. It was
after, toward the end.
Yes.
And then we came back to shoot.
And then we came back
the month of January of 1993, because we ended right around Christmas time. The month of January, no work, and then for February, we came back and did a couple of scenes.
So let me get this straight. You couldn't roller skate.
No.
Because you could have got hurt, but this I had breaking his ankles, and everything's all right. Everything got to stop, right?
Everything's well.
He had the money, right?
He was the director. He had had to
we
be
should call him
there.
up.
He was the budget and
You had to
everything.
be there. You had to be there.
The budget was like 15 million, and that's not a
It was
lot of money.
crazy.
No, I get it.
Now, but
Yeah.
back then
Now.
that was.
Yeah, hell
All right. And
yeah.
I heard toward the end they ran out of money. De Niro was putting it out of his own pocket. But who cares?
Yeah.
I would do that too. If I had the money like him and this is my directorial debut, I would have no doubt. I would have had no problem putting extra money in the film.
Yeah.
But I think he did a great job in directing us.
I did too.
Did you know that movie was gonna be timeless like that? Did you feel it?
Who knows that what they shoot is going to be timeless?
Yeah, right.
You don't know that.
That's
like,
selfish of me asking that.
you know, that
But you didn't feel
It's in
it like
God's
just
hand.
being in the movie and
when I saw it, I knew that it was special. After we did interviews and like the press tour for it, and after the critics, so to say, you know, put in their little commentary about what they thought about it, I knew it was special then. I said, okay, this is going to do really, really well. Now, do I think it could have done better in the box office? Of course.
absolutely.
But I
Initially, but
also-
it did well over time.
It did well over time. But I also think that there were a lot of people struggling with the fact that this relationship was happening in the movie. You know, you have a lot of supporters, but you also have a lot of haters that
No,
don't want to
absolutely.
see this type of thing
Absolutely.
happening. So we represent that, you know, and the love that we see today is because there's so many people like Jane and Colodro.
Oh, it's
that are
way more
out there.
prevalent.
Yes.
Interracial dating
Exactly, interracial dating. There's so many couples out there that look up to our characters.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's what really took the film over
Yeah, I'm
the
sure you
top
get-
over the years.
now. I'm sure you get a million DMs. Hey,
Oh, yeah.
look at my man.
Oh, yeah.
This like Italian guy, right?
The famous line is, I like Italians.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the famous line.
Yeah.
And
Yo,
then
can you say it one time?
Yeah.
She's like, I like Italian.
and then they really do expect that I'm, you know, in my real life I'm married to an Italian, but I'm not.
heartbroken when they
I'm
see your husband, like, no!
it's Jane. Like that was Jane's
She's
life.
married to
My
Lauren.
life is
Lauren's
different.
a good man.
Yeah.
My husband,
Lauren-
yes, my husband's a great man,
Yeah, he's
and
good,
we
man.
were dating when we were doing the movie.
Wow, so think about
we were
that.
dating. Yes, so you know.
What's up,
So
Lauren?
he met Keisha?
Oh yeah, he met
Oh,
Keisha.
my
He met
God.
Keisha. Well, when I did Keisha, we were broken up,
Okay.
but then we got back together after Keisha was kind of born.
He was
Keisha was
holy
born.
dang, I don't
It
see
was like,
Keisha,
yeah.
So you do the Bronx
He's
Tale.
from the Bronx? Oh, my.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go.
No, my husband is from Queens.
Okay.
Yes.
Queens.
Queens.
All right.
So you finish shooting the Bronx. You know, you have a great experience. You learn so much. De Niro takes you under his wing. Arguably one of the best actors of our time, and you know, beautiful, special experience, right? You know, to say
Yes.
the least. Okay, so now the film is released. What kind of impact did that have on your life? How did your life change as a result of that film being released?
Wow, how did my life change? I would say for sure I became one of the most successful dark-skinned girls in the industry. I represented all the brown girls. They were so proud of me. The way they tell me that I inspired them to love their skin, to accept themselves. That was just something I wasn't used to because as just being me, I don't look at color like that, you know, but it's a thing. Racism is a thing and colorism is a thing. And I had to accept the fact that I represent that to a certain degree when it comes to girls who don't really love themselves because of their skin color or how they grew up being called monkeys or whatever the case may be. That's not happening over here. I always believed in myself. My mom instilled that in me. You know, you're beautiful. You know, your complexion is beautiful. So I never had those
And you are,
problems.
so.
Thank you. I never had those issues, but there are millions of girls out there that feel that they're not beautiful because they're dark. Yeah. And then, you know, also I would get comments like, you know, well, you're really pretty for a dark girl,
Oh, wow.
you know? And so to me, that's not a
What
compliment.
does that even mean? Yeah, that shit is stupid. You're degrading me, dude.
You're really pretty for a dark
Yeah,
girl,
yeah, that's
or
stupid.
I love dark girls because of you.
Yeah. Wow.
Like those have never been compliments to
No.
me. I think there are some beautiful darker skinned women out there, and kudos to those ladies. But I also feel that we're beautiful in every race.
Yeah.
That's why God made the rainbow. We're rainbow, array of colors, and it's just, what you like. You gravitate to what you like. But that doesn't mean that anyone else is less.
I like Indians.
Great.
And black girls.
Great.
What kind? The ones with
Great.
the dots?
With the red
Oh,
dots.
And that's
Well,
your taste.
Yo,
and you have that right.
Yeah.
And no one has the right to judge you for what you like.
Talk about she smell like curry. You better watch your fucking mouth, boy. Watch your mouth.
Hilarious.
So did you have like, I know I had, when that movie came out, I had relatives that I never even knew. Hey, Lilo, I'm your Uncle John from Tennessee.
You get fans. I wasn't used to fans. The fans come and all the love and support from, the outside world is now in your inside world. And you're like, whoa, what is this? But, you embrace it. You embrace the love, and building a fan base helps to support your career and what you're doing. So that was my first fan base. A Bronx Tale gave me my first fan base. And I'm sure you too.
You were great in the film.
Thank you.
And we both know, we all know the film's major success. Mm-hmm. So after you completed the film, did you get an agent, manager? I'm sure they were knocking down your door, right?
I did get an agent. I was Jane Rosenthal actually hooked me up with an agent that later on turned into the company Innovative.
Oh, I know Innovative Artists.
So I was working with them.
I know, they were right on Park Avenue.
Yes.
City Crab.
Yes.
I remember.
Yes. So I worked with them for a while, and a few agencies throughout the years. And then I think my notoriety from the things that I've done, I just started getting calls to the point, like I didn't even audition for Belly.
Yeah. I was going to say, how did that happen?
I just started.
You and Hype had a cool
I
relationship
just
like
started
that?
getting.
Like
Well, I was
seen it.
doing videos for him,
Yeah,
and then he wrote Keisha and was like, "Nah, Hicks, I only see you playing this." And I was like, "She is like an alter ego and crazy," but
you were mean. They were scared of you. I was scared of you
I was
too.
like, but if I could pull her off, then that's the true definition of an actress. Because
Yes.
she's totally opposite from Jane.
Yeah, because
So-
I noticed that in your interview that I seen.
Yeah.
Like you were raised well, church.
Yeah.
Well, that's why she is the way she is.
And then you played
But those were my teenage years, so I was wild. I had to, swim a little bit. And so I did the swimming and figured out that, the industry is full of a lot of things, and I had to, put things into perspective as far as what I wanted and what I wanted to be. And I was never going to be the industry whore, so to say.
Yeah.
I was never going to be that. So that's my kind of raw talking. That's how I talk. That's how I talk
coming
raw.
out a little bit.
I was never going to be that. I just value myself and my morals, and I wasn't going to let this industry use me and then spit me out.
And then talk shit about you.
And exactly.
Yo, they
so I
fucking
wanted
crazy.
to keep control, and I feel like I did that. I have control, and now it's so easy because everything is just at our fingertips. We can do it ourselves. So, my career has lasted this long, and I'm at the point where now I can do what I want to do without people telling me, "No, be this." Do that. No, you're not going to be successful at that. You should do this, or selling out.
Yeah, or you didn't get the part. You
Right.
are the part.
I
now.
can make my
Everything's
part.
Like, yeah, you can make your part.
Not through
You
social
can make
media.
your own movie. There you go.
literally.
Yeah,
Literally.
but through social media too,
Yes.
that's definitely helped.
It's
Because it
changed.
kind of cut out, because you can represent yourself the way you want to be represented. You don't
Yeah.
know how this representation, agents, managers, you don't know how they're representing you when they're on the phone trying to pitch you to some
Yeah.
production company or some movie. They may say, well, this and this, but it's not even the way you are.
Right.
And then it's like, and then they meet you and then they feel like, oh my God, his manager was telling me he's totally different, this and that. But now you represent yourself. And it's
These
like,
platforms are like your are like portfolios.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For these brands to see, and they're like, yo, you know what? Oh.
right,
I
and
love it that way.
you could promote your stuff, and you got a big following.
Yes.
How long was it after Bronx Tale that you got Belly? How long in between?
I feel like, okay, so 2 years, I did an Usher video. That was like really, really huge. I'm going to say about 4 years apart, maybe.
Because it was what, 93, 98?
Yeah, it's about 4 years apart. And that just took on a whole other situation of its own.
Motherfuckers like, yo, free Keisha. Yo, they was going crazy out here.
Keisha, I mean, whenever I think Keisha is dead, she's resurrected some kind of way. Whenever I say, okay, people forgot about her, she's over, she gets resurrected.
That baby oil you hated all over your body, man.
Oh, I hated that.
With the
I was so mad.
Yeah, I know.
You don't understand. I was so mad at that. I was like, "Hype! What are we doing? What is this? Like, why am I looking all greasy?" And he's like, "Trust me, Hicks. It's a vision. Trust me. Decades from now, people are gonna be talking about this."
Right.
And that's why. He did. He said he needed to do something different. He needed to do something outside of the norm and something that was going to stand out. And he was like, and on your skin,
he wasn't lying.
It's going to be crazy.
Keisha,
Under
right?
a blue light?
Yeah.
No, because he told me, he said, I thought about a red light. He's like, but red is, blue light?
Woo!
It's going to
He
be
was 100%
sick.
right.
So it's going to be sick. So I was like, Lord, what is this man putting me out here?
The lady, I'm getting tongue tied. That the people that help you on set with the clothes and all, the fashion lady, the wardrobe lady,
June,
she was tight because
June
they got on
Rose.
the Dolce Gabbana.
June was
like,
mad because
like
yes, I had
piece.
on a $10,000 lingerie that got baby oil spilled all over it. I don't even think she could return that piece. I don't think so. So
it's not her
she
fault.
was mad. It's not her fault. I was like, look, take
Yo, Hype.
take it out of Hype's check, look, because I don't have it for you. So take it out of Hype's check.
Yeah.
And she wasn't happy about that. It was La Perla. Oh. It was a La Perla set, and she was not happy about that.
The reason why I ask how much time in between, because I know for myself, like when I did Bronx Tale and I saw myself for the first time on film and like on, in the movie theater and just to come an attraction, I didn't know it was coming. It was like drugs.
Yeah.
Because I got that rush, that dopamine rush. And that's why I think I became a drug addict later on in life. Because that event, that memory printed something so prominent in my memory, just like the way that felt, that rush. And let's face it, Bronx Tale was a very big movie and not something like, I've still never made a bigger movie than that, but I don't know for me if there's a bigger movie to be made. We're working with Bobby, we're lead roles. This is a movie that transcends time. It's going to be around forever. And I'm just wondering, because like, after that happened and I wasn't getting that dopamine rush, because, the other films I did, they were good, but they weren't at that level. And I'm just wondering if you've experienced the same thing. Because initially when the film came out, everybody gravitated towards you. Oh my God, we love you. But then after a while, that kind of stuff just sizzles, and it fades away.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, did you ever get depressed after that? Was there like you were still longing for that rush, maybe? I know you're doing Usher videos, and I love Usher. I did a video with him too. My boo. I was Alicia Keys' driver in the video.
Yeah. Okay.
But you see me with the hat?
Yeah.
But
hilarious. Well, you know what? I experienced a little bit of that, but I don't think to the degree that maybe you did. Because remember, after Bronx Tale, I got signed to Epic Records immediately.
Right.
So that was another rush for me because it's like, now I get to sing. Finally, I'm doing
this
movies.
door opened up this other door that you always wanted to get in.
Exactly. So I started diving into my music, and then I'm working with people that produce Whitney Houston, like Narada, Michael Walden, and Teddy Riley, and people like that on my record. So I was trying to really balance the two. But the thing about the 90s is that it was so hard to be successful at both of them. It was like you could either do one really well and you were okay in the other. As far as the success, the amount of success each one brought each other. So I was juggling that. So I was juggling just trying to equal out my success as far as film and movie and television. And that was hard. And it was hard to do. I wanted to be huge like Brandy and Monica, but I also wanted to be a great actress that was continuously working on films like the Gabrielle Unions and the Taraji P. Hensons. And it seemed like these girls were getting all the roles all the time. And so I'm in a race just trying to keep up. So I think in life, that has been my battle, just trying to keep up and stay relevant and stay out there and equalize my gifts,
you could do it now. With
I can definitely do it now, and it's a different time.
Yeah.
And I think because I didn't give up, because I kept going, I'm able now to say, okay, yeah, I can do both of them, and feel good about what I'm doing, what I'm putting out. And look, it brought us back full circle.
Right.
You know?
I love to see
Well,
that.
you did the right and the smart thing. You
Yeah.
treated it like a marathon
Yeah.
instead of a foot race. 'Cause
Exactly.
when it's a foot race, you burn out. But you got to know this
Exactly.
is for the long haul. So you take it.
And I had some pretty decent success on Motown, putting out the Denise Williams remake of Silly, and just, touring with that record. And still today, I go out and I perform those songs at events and hostings and things like that. So,
What
yeah.
did you want to do more? If it at that point in your career, if they said, Taral, you have to choose either singing or acting, which one would you have chosen?
I can't choose. I can never choose between the two because I will always do the both of them until I die.
I think
I can't choose.
Your passion came from it. You were doing both, like you said, when you was doing the play.
The play,
even in church.
and I was doing both, but didn't realize it then, like
Yeah.
I stated earlier. But now that I realize that I'm created to do both, I can't do one without the
'Cause
other.
I think I heard you at a point say you chose music over it.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
but now
chose.
you have-
Yeah, I chose music, but I realized that I'm both. My success was with film.
Yeah.
But the music still lives deep inside of me and will never go away. So I'm always gonna pursue it. It's not a thing that I'm gonna say, okay, it didn't work out, I'm not gonna do it. I do it because I love to do it. I do it because I enjoy it.
And you got some bagpipes
You
in
know?
there. You got some pipes
So
in there, man.
it's always gonna be inside of me. And not only that, I realized that within it, I mean, and this is on a spiritual level, but there's anointing in my voice because it's a gift from God. So when I sing to people, their emotions are healed, So it's that's deep. I'm not gonna go all the way into that, but you know, you've been through a recovery process, and
Yeah.
I'm sure in some of those moments you listen to music from different artists that touched you and helped to heal your process, right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Am I right?
No, you're right. If
Okay.
we're being honest, today when I seen the clip of you on Subway Story singing on the payphone, I shed a
Yeah.
tear.
And you know what? I
Swear to
get
God.
tons of DMs about that performance from people who have lost loved ones,
Yeah.
telling me just how deeply impacted they are by that performance. And what am I doing in that performance? I'm acting and I'm singing. And that's why I'm meant to do both. So there you go.
I love that. It definitely brings tears to me this morning.
Yeah.
I know at one point in your life, you became a school teacher, right?
Yes.
So when was that?
When my children were early age, I worked in pre-K for a little while, just teaching, and I enjoy kids. It was my dream to one day have a child care center. I've long gone let that go because, with age, I decided that no thanks. I'm just gonna save my time for my grands.
So let's take it back because the kids had to come from somewhere, right? So
Of
Lauren,
course.
it was your high school sweetheart.
Yes.
You were dating Lauren.
Yeah.
Once again, hey Lauren. You were dating Lauren
Yeah.
while we were shooting the Bronx Tale. So that was your high school sweetheart. How old were you when you got married?
We were 25.
25. So and then you had how long after that did you have your first?
Jaden was right away. And then Joelle is 10 years from Jaden.
Okay, so then you became a school teacher.
Early on with Jaden, not with Joelle.
So why did you choose that career path? Was it because you wanted some more stability in your life? Because now
I definitely
it's real. I got kids.
I wanted more stability. Not only that, but I needed to do something with my time because as a new mother, I wasn't the type that just wanted to push my kid off on my mom and be like, yeah, I'm gone. So I wanted to take that time to step away from the industry. The industry was crazy at that time, early 90s. Well, no, actually that was late 90s, 2000. It was crazy. And I needed a reset. And when we reset, sometimes we have to work in the reset. So,
Right.
I chose something that I enjoy, and I enjoy being around kids at that time. When I was young, I enjoyed doing that and helping. I feel like when you're teaching kids, you're helping, and you're
course.
helping the community.
And you're affecting tomorrow. You're
Exactly.
instilling the right things in them.
Exactly.
What grade did you teach?
I taught pre-K.
Okay.
pre-K. So that's, pre-kindergarten going into first grade. So I was preparing children to get ready for the transition into elementary school.
Which also prepared you as a mother because you had
Exactly.
little
And I
ones.
had a little,
So they
exactly.
were going to be about that age. So it's like I already have
Exactly.
experience with kids your age.
So it gave me the opportunity to fill the void of just space while, I didn't have a deal at this time. Work was slow as far as films and things like that. And I needed to do something with my time so that I wouldn't fall into a depressed state.
Okay, so you didn't get depressed.
I didn't get
You
depressed.
kept yourself
no.
busy
I kept
doing
myself
other
busy.
things. Right.
I kept myself, because anybody that's in this business know when it's slow, and you can get depressed because you don't know when the next thing is happening. You don't know where it's coming from.
Feast or famine.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you have to, so to say, have a plan B. Even when there is no plan B, you have to have a plan B.
Right.
Sometimes your plan A is not quite on track the way you need it to be. So you got to fall into plan B for a minute. But I hopped into plan B for a little while, and then now I'm hopped right back over to plan A.
Yeah.
How long were you teaching before you went back to acting and singing?
About 3 years.
3 years?
About 3 years. And it was a hilarious experience for me because like parents would come and pick up their kids and like, oh my God, like you're teaching my son today? Like you're the girl from a Bronx Tale. Like, what are you doing here? I'm working. Like you getting ready to go to work.
Exactly.
That's what I'm doing.
gotta eat.
I'm working,
So what would you say you have more fans from, Bronx Tale or Belly?
It's equal, which is so
Yeah.
crazy. It's equal. But it probably is a Bronx Tale if we really did the numbers.
Yeah, definitely.
But either way, it's a lot on both sides. Either way.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for you, like The Sopranos, right?
Yeah,
You have fans from The Sopranos.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
More from Bronx Tale,
but
though.
of course, more from Bronx.
More from Bronx Tale,
You
though.
got any stories from Nas or DMX?
Stories.
That nobody
X was a
knows?
cool kid. He was interesting, very interesting, but super smart. Just as spiritual as I am, but he had the other side too.
Yeah.
He would be on set quoting scriptures and Bible verses, and then he'd turn into X, And I'm like, is this the same person?
Yeah, Earl and
But-
DMX are definitely.
Earl and D, they're
what
split,
would
for
turning
sure.
into X mean? Like, what would he become?
He would become his rapper side. But when he's Earl, he was very spiritual, very kind, very pure in a sense almost. And then he would turn into DMX. He was
I don't know that bitch.
He was a tortured
that?
soul. He was a good guy, though, man.
But he was a good
picture,
guy.
I got pictures with him. Last time I seen him was at a strip club in Yonkers, but he was in a group home with my boy John LaCourte. DMX scored very tough.
Yeah.
And, he was a major talent. He was such a good guy. Really, really was.
But he was a professional, and his wife was on set. Shout outs to Tahira. She was a beautiful woman. And literally, I did my work and I went home. So the infamous scene that everybody talks about, I really hate to bust everybody's bubble because that wasn't me. Like it was, I left the set,
Yeah.
and years later, I spoke to my body double. And she told me, she was like, yeah, when you left the set, they tried to get me to do the scene. And I didn't want to do the scene. So she's like, they called in somebody else. And I was like, wow. Because I didn't see that scene until we went to the premiere. And I looked at Hype like, what is this?
Wow.
Like, I thought I was just going to be in here being bad and doing some cussing. That was going to be my sin, the cussing. So I'm like, what is this scene? So I was like, you did me dirty, dude, but okay. All right, whatever. But I knew after that movie, everybody was going to approach me to do roles like that. And I was going to be turning them down. So when you saw the gaps in my career, it was because I was getting those kind of roles. And I was like, that wasn't even me. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I have kids. I'm not trying to do that right now, like, or ever. But that's the business. That's the part of the business that, that I'm talking about. You have to be careful. Back then, you couldn't really choose like what your character was going to be doing outside of, what you did on set. I didn't have any control over that. But now I know as an older actress, I can, decide what it is I want to do. I can say, well, where would this character stretch to when I'm not on set? What are y'all going to do afterwards when I leave and walk away? I have control over that, but it's all good. Keisha's an icon. I learned a lesson, and I'm just, I'm able to tell people that wasn't me.
So how would you compare working with Hype Williams and Robert De Niro, being that that was their first directional debut?
So working with Robert De Niro was really different from working with Hype, because I feel like the Bronx Tale and working with Robert De Niro gave me my film experience to even know how to work with Hype. So basically, I feel like Robert De Niro was my first acting coach, because, right? He took us through every step of what he wanted our characters to be. And I was learning, but you had to pick up fast. So I was learning, I was picking up real quick, and then I was able to deliver. So by the time I got to Hype, I had the experience of being in front of a camera, because a Bronx Tale was the first time I was in front of a huge camera. Looking back at myself in the lens. That happened with a Bronx Tale. But now I'm shooting Belly, and I'm like, okay, this is not Jane, this is Keisha, but I know how to do this. I have this experience. So I feel like De Niro's film was my training ground. Yeah, to go in and give Keisha everything she needed. And as far as Hype, he had all the visuals, in his head as far as what he wanted the film to look like. And I think the marriage of my acting and the actors and his vision just married each other. And on the set of De Niro's film, A Bronx Tale, he picked out such great talent and natural talent, like Lillo, like myself, that we were able to just bring a natural chemistry to what the roles required. And so, but both equally great experiences.
Nice. And that's funny, like you was in 2 debuts.
Yeah.
2 directors, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty much history.
Their first directorial debuts.
And in 2 iconic films.
In 2 iconic films. One is for the streets and one is for the Italians.
Yeah, the Italians
and
in the streets.
blacks.
I was
African Americans. Let me not say
say
black, because nobody's black. This is what black
That's
look like.
black.
We're not black. We brown.
Brown and beautiful. But I think Bronx Tale was for the streets and families, you could say.
Yeah. I mean, but
Belly wasn't for families. It was for the streets.
it was for the streets. It was definitely.
See, when people ask me about Bronx Tale, they categorize it as being a gangster film. But
Yeah.
I don't really think it's a gangster film.
No.
I think it's more of a father-son
Yes.
coming-of-age story
Yes.
that happened to take place in the street.
Yes.
I agree with that. And you know what? It schooled me, because I didn't know a lot about Italians, but Bronx Tale really schooled me on the culture, your culture, and the food, and
the food's great.
the lingo. There's a lingo.
Yeah, that's definitely a lingo.
So,
Okay.
schooled me.
I will say this, and I know she can definitely vouch for me. De Niro, that was his first film that he directed, so he wanted to cover his butt, and he did a lot of coverage. He did a lot of coverage. You remember that night when I said, do you know how to make sauce? How many times did we do that?
100.
Bro, you have no
His
idea.
one line. That one line.
Yo,
And
and
it was
my mother and father were there. It's like it was
freezing
It was
outside,
freezing
too.
out. It was a Tuesday night, and I remember De Niro. I remember saying, "Lillo, I mean, just listen. This is you may want to marry this girl one day. So you want to know. Okay, so I want you to put an emphasis on the you in the sauce. Okay. Okay. Do you know how to make sauce? Okay, try it. Do you know how to make sauce? Oh, wait, do it a little slower. Do you know how to make sauce? Like that, okay? Okay. But I didn't see. We did like that. My father's looking at me. He's like, "What the fuck? What is this guy
Meanwhile,
doing?"
I'm just holding warmers in my hand, like, Leo, get this line right, because it's cold out here. Like,
But
it
he
really
was-
was like 16 degrees outside. I was like, get the line right.
But he had little inexperience as a director, so he was doing
Yeah,
stuff.
he needed everything to be like perfection. Because even when I was fixing Lilo's hat and,
when you
that's
fix
bad.
it.
I went through the same thing. He
Right.
made me do it over and over.
Right, right.
Oh, the hat. Yeah. That's better like that.
Yeah. But he does that.
He
But-
does it.
And like after being on that set, I don't know if you felt the same way, but for me, because like I went, you went on to do other things. I went on to do other things. So that's your first experience working on a film set. You think that's the way it is, but it's not.
It's not.
De Niro was he was very meticulous, and one thing, and one of the reasons why I can attribute the movie's success to is he paid attention to every little detail.
Yes.
There was not one detail. He would cut and come fix my tie.
Yes.
He would come from all the way over there just to straighten my tie. I've never seen a director of a big name director get out of their seat and fix people's ties. He would do that, but maybe that's why the film was, so
Why would you call him a big name director if that was his first?
I know, but I'm just saying he's Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Even though it's his first, just because he merely is who he is, he's
Yeah.
big name already. You know what I
Okay.
mean? The fact that it's like one of the best actors. Now he's directing, so it's like such a privilege to like you're almost being taught by the master. That's why that experience
Exactly.
is like we peaked so early. We did like the best movies, like any
Yeah.
actress, any actress, any actor. That's a role of a lifetime.
Yeah.
And to be given that so early, it's like you're already here. Where you going from here? There's no way to go up. So now it's like you got to come back down to come back up, but there's still no up. And it's like you peak so early, and it's like it's a blessing and a
peaked
curse,
early.
right?
It's true. That's true. We peaked so early. It's like, how do we
Top this.
possibly top
Yeah.
this success? And I don't know. I mean, we I don't know. It's in God's cards whether we ever will, but it follows us everywhere throughout our whole lives. It's been 30 years.
No.
We're still talking about
Yeah,
a
Bronx
Bronx Tale.
Well, that's why I did what I did. I, wrote a story, a
Exactly.
screenplay. Did you like the screenplay?
I did like the screenplay. I think people are really going to be very interested in this movie.
It has
I love
real
the
emotional.
screenplay.
Wouldn't you say the emotional depth? And
Yes, and a part of your life story.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
I did it through different characters. It's not really stuff that's happened in my life. Even more life is in the script, but it's real. See, a Bronx Tale is great. You know what I mean? It's a coming of age story, a father, son, but the whole wise guy element, stuff like that. Some people can't relate to that.
Yeah.
But what's in here? This is about addiction, not
Real
only
life.
drug addiction. I'm a gambling addict, and because she's a singer. I wanted to incorporate that in the screenplay. So she's an only child, an aspiring singer. And when we meet, the first time we meet, we're both in our element. It's the irony. I'm a degenerate gambler at a bar in City Island. Remember Rhodes, where they used to do the karaoke? And I'm like over here, degenerate. Yeah, baby, come on. And she's on the stage doing karaoke. So it's not love at first sight, it's love at first sound. Woo! So then I turn around and I see this beauty on the stage. And I'm like this broke down Joey Preston, guy from Yonkers, New York. And then, I see her, Joanne Chisholm. And wow.
all right, but we're not giving them no more.
No, but I'm just telling you, it's a real story, and it has emotion.
We got to do it. We got to do it and make history again. That's all. We're gonna make history.
I'm telling
again.
you, this is
It's gonna be really good.
But okay, so you were teaching. You gave your teaching maybe a 3-year stint.
Yeah,
3-year
yeah.
stint. You wanted to get back in the business. Did you still have the same representation? Did you still sing with the same
No.
managers and agents?
No, at this point, I was pretty freelanced, and honestly, I just went on backstage and started looking for roles again. And I was handed a few good roles. I did an episode of Subway Stories. The casting directors were also calling me. Although I didn't have an agent, I still was getting calls from casting directors that I had seen in the past. And when
Did you
something would
submit
come
yourself?
across my table,
You ever hear it's like some actresses that don't have representation, they submit themselves on the breakdown, stuff
I
like that?
never submitted myself to anything. No,
Okay.
like I said, the casting directors that knew of me and would say, "Oh, Taral would be great for this." They would find me and send out an email or call and say, "Hey, can you come down and make this audition?" And that's how that would happen. So honestly, like I said, the roles that I've had in my life have been spread apart, far and few, but all of them have been pretty
Iconic.
impactful.
Iconic.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I guess. I mean, I'm a blessed girl in that aspect.
I'm gonna tell you this much: if you were homeless, God forbid, you wouldn't starve.
I was
They
never
will take you in ASAP, cuz like, yo, ASAP, nah, you got your own. Get the
I
fuck
was
out.
never homeless. Not only that,
No,
but
I know that. Come on, I know that.
I had a very supportive husband that supported me in my career.
know.
So,
I know.
yeah.
But you know what? Life is weird, so you never know. Because I done seen people that was up top homeless.
No,
So I'm
you're
just using an
right.
example.
You're right.
But you
People have
definitely-
lived in their cars,
Yeah.
and this business will take you through. And if you don't have a support system to carry you when the times are not up,
Yeah.
you can definitely go down low.
You got your husband, family. You got your support of your
Yeah,
Bronx Tale people.
I do.
Everything. You got support.
I do.
You know what
I
I'm
have
saying?
You're a good
support out
person,
here.
so
Thank
that makes
you.
people want to support you.
Thank you.
Because you could have all support, but if you ain't a good person,
And you're no
nobody...
longer a jerk, so it works out.
Yeah,
Just
you
Well,
kidding.
no, I know,
Just-
but I'm saying like people want to support you. Okay, so would you say you were content with the way your career went after the teaching thing, and you get back into you? Did you feel that you were getting what
Absolutely.
you wanted, and were
Absolutely.
you fulfilled?
I am fulfilled today.
Okay.
Today I am fulfilled. I've watched the industry shift so many times and just take on new levels of greatness, but also new demons. So,
Yeah.
and I skipped over a lot of that, which helped me to keep my sanity, be true to myself so that I wouldn't end up in a more recovery center, trying to
In a more life.
right, in a more life.
Yeah.
God bless more life because they're helping people help
No
my
doubt, no
friend,
doubt.
and I'm grateful for that,
Thank you.
And just again, I'm veering a little bit, but
you
to
good.
see you where you are, I'm sitting here on this platform letting you know that I'm proud of you.
Thank you
and
so much.
I know that you're touching people's lives today, and you're encouraging and inspiring people, and I think that's why we do this. That's why we do this. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad that you're on a path that allows you to be who you are, who you truly are today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're
so
welcome.
how's family life? How's married life?
Family life is great. Married life is great. I've been married. We just celebrated 25 years, which this guy showed up for my birthday. I celebrated my 50th birthday, and he showed up. And my husband is a musician, producer, all things music. LD Music Group is what he runs. He's produced for so many people, J-Lo, Genuine, the list goes on. But, we're great. My family is great. We're all just, blessed.
No doubt.
And living by grace.
That's great. I know your family, great people.
Yeah.
Tell that nephew I said hello.
I will. I will.
So I know you got a makeup line.
Yes.
Right? Well,
So
tell us about it.
you saying so me and this guy, we grew up in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Did you go to Evander?
No, I went to Kennedy.
'cause
I cried because I didn't get accepted to no high schools.
Well, they said, Evander was like one of the
That was my zone school.
It was one of the most terrible schools
Yeah, I
in the
was scared
Bronx.
to death.
I dodged that because I went to a trade school. I went to Grace Dodge High School.
Yeah, you went to Dodge.
And so my plan B was, if none of this worked out, I'm going to do hair. I'm going to have my own beauty supply. I'm going to be into cosmetics and things. So I did finally get the opportunity to have a cosmetic line with a company called Selfie Cosmetics, which is I'm in partnership with them.
Awesome.
And so I have a lippy line that's all vegan, and it's a beautiful line. And one of the colors is called Plain Jane. So ladies, Plain Jane.
That's great.
It's an innovative line as well because it has a light on the tube.
wow.
It has a mirror,
wow.
so when you're putting on your lip line and the dark dinner areas
see that
or
light on the
clubs.
thing? Yo,
that's
Let me show y'all
fire.
again. Let me show
Is
you.
that,
It's,
I was
it's
gonna say, is there any
fire.
way we could shut the light for a second and show
So-
how really this thing works? But no.
So I shouts out to first part of my management team and Nicole, who is the CEO of Selfie Cosmetics. They gave me my own line of cosmetics. I got to handpick each color and the packaging and the product and what goes inside it. And so this, like I said, is Plain Jane beautiful color. And then this is Sassy Bronx.
Hey,
And yes,
I
Sassy
like those
Bronx
names.
and Bronx Babe. So
Oh.
aka Bronx Babe. And so this is just a fire red color because it reminds me of my stomping ground and just that fiery energy that anyone who comes from the Bronx have. We have a go-getter mentality. You know, we're from the brick, you know. It's
Yeah.
like we break the ground and do great things. So
Yeah.
this represents that. So guys, Selfie Cosmetics, the Taral Hicks collection is waiting for you.
Where can they find it?
You can go to my page. Actually, she is Taral Hicks. Yeah, you can go there, hit the link on the top, Selfie Cosmetics is there, or you can go to www.selfiecosmetics.com and click on the Taral Hicks collection. I have 6 beautiful colors for the ladies to rock, and yeah, support your girl.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a perfect thing for you.
Thank
This
you.
really is. Just the way you just spoke about that, like
Thank
such a
you.
natural.
That's a game changer right
You have
there.
a beautiful.
Mirror.
You have like one of the most beautiful faces.
Thank you.
You got like the best skin. Whoever came up with this idea to put makeup on your face is an absolute genius
Nicole.
idea.
Thank you,
I
Nicole.
wish you
And
all the
first.
best with this. I know
Absolutely.
you're gonna do great.
Thank
You get the
you.
perfect face for it, and the perfect it's perfect.
Thank
I
you.
want. I'm gonna say I
No,
wanna
don't put it-
makeup
don't put it on
but
your face,
Maybe we should
please.
hold off
Don't.
on that. But really, this is a great thing.
Can you imagine Lilo with
Yeah.
a red? Oh my God.
What else? Anything else you want to talk about? What else?
I
you got
do have
going on?
music. I have new music coming out soon. It's going to be really on the inspirational side, but something we can really kick to and everybody can enjoy for sure.
We'll definitely look forward to it on Apple, right?
Yes.
iTunes.
Yes, and I had a couple of interviews with Fat Joe, so I'm hoping to really get a collab with him on this because he's always like, God is the greatest.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can, do something that we've talked about it several times. So
We spoke to Rich.
Joe himself.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And we just saw Fat Joe at a at a
yeah,
party.
He loves y'all, man.
I was just
Yeah,
gonna
he
say,
does.
I
You're
just saw him, and I
staple to the
remember you
fucking
were there.
Bronx,
We were.
dude.
We were together. Actually.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I was kind of heartbroken when this guy told me he wasn't from the Bronx. You're not from Yonkers, man. I'm like, whoa, my life is alive.
Well, that's right next door, so you
no,
get a
we
pass.
neighbors, especially on Gun Hill. We like 5 minutes away.
You
So
get a pass.
he definitely get a pass. That's my boy, man. He's still legendary.
Yes.
There was something else
I wanted to ask you something.
Go ahead. Ask me or her.
Were there? No, I love you. All right. Were there any roles that you regret not doing?
Yes.
And if it's yes, can you tell us which one?
Yes. I definitely regret not doing Love and Basketball because I got that role. Wow. I got it. And I have to take that L. I gotta live with it.
Yo, it would have.
I gotta live with it.
Way better.
I gotta
Okay,
live with
so
it.
how about this question? Was there ever a
And
role that? Go ahead. What were you going to say? before?
And I didn't do it because I was very
Go ahead.
I regret not doing Love and Basketball because I just finished Belly and I was just, the whole me not doing that love scene and it being put out the way that it was put out was kind of in my head. So when I read the script to Love and Basketball and it said nudity and it said love scene, I immediately was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. And then I go and look at Sanaa Lathan like this and I'm
Yeah.
like, I could have did that.
Definitely.
But I just, I wasn't, my heart wasn't healed from the Belly situation, so I didn't know how to really approach that. And even my mom was like, well, she doesn't really want to do the nudity scene. So, but they were like, nah, that's in there. It has to be there. And so, okay. And I kind of I took that loss. But then when I saw Sanaa do it, I was like, well, she's not really showing anything.
Yeah.
So
First of all-
they curved it for what she needed her comfortability to be. But I didn't know at the time that that's probably what I should have done. Took the role, and then when I got there, said,
Yeah.
"No, I want to do it this way. Or I want to do it that because that's what looked like it's happening. Because the way I read it was not what they did. So,
I mean, you never
Yeah.
know. Look how good you turned out. You're
yeah,
very
but
well adjusted.
that's the only role I regret
Only
not
one.
taking.
Love and
yeah,
Basketball.
That's
Okay.
it.
So was there a role that you wanted, you auditioned for, that you probably got a few callbacks, but you didn't get?
Yes, I received 2 callbacks for Sister Act. And I was mad I didn't get that. And because I would be acting and singing in
Yeah,
it.
that would
and,
fit you great, like,
and I saw
dope.
Lauryn Hill, but I was like, okay, I understand. Lauryn Hill is incredible. And then look at her today.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she's incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but I would have loved to have gotten that role for sure.
I will say though, you mentioned Whoopi's name. One time I was on The View when I got my first role. When I came home and people were all crazy, backlash and screaming and yelling, Rosie Perez, and he should still be in jail. Blah, blah, blah.
God.
The only one who had my back was Whoopi. Thank you, Whoopi. Because she made she made sense. She was using common sense. The guy is home. You want him to work. He's working, and now you're doing this shit to him.
Yeah.
This is what he did before. But just
Well, you
thank
know,
Whoopi.
I don't, you know, I can't help but to get all spiritual on you. I'm sorry. But when I think about you, you know, I read my Bible a lot, guys. I don't make no excuses, no incense, whatever. But when I think about you, I really think about the scripture, Ephesians 3:20, when it says that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we could ask or think according to the power that works in you. And I say that because I've watched you pull yourself up, and I know that you couldn't have done it on your own strength.
Absolutely
I know
not.
that it was a God type of power that picked you from the bottom and pulled you up to where you're sitting here today, not looking like you've been through anything that you've gone through. So I commend you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
And congratulations on your sobriety.
I appreciate that so much.
So the word is living. It's a living word, and you are an example of that scripture. You use God's power and you brought yourself back to life. Because I mean, could you have done this without God?
No. No way.
Not even close.
I don't think so. You know, that's what I think.
No, it's beautiful what you said, but there's no way because you know times like that, a lot of people leave, but God never leaves, and you feel Him more present. Because like it's footsteps, so it's like when I needed you the most, you know, because there was 2 sets of footprints, you know, thing. But then when He needed him the most, the guy said, "Well, when I needed you the most, there was only 1 set of footprints," and that's God said, "Well, that's when I carried you."
That's one. Yeah.
So that's why you only seen. But I felt it like during my darkest days, you feel the Lord more present. Whether you want to
Absolutely.
call Him God, whether you want to call Him Jesus, whatever that is
Yeah.
to you, that's fine, and I respect it. But I just felt it more present, and I know there's God because you know I seen it, I felt it, and I just seen the metamorphosis in me from how I changed. There's no way I could have done this on my own, and also our support systems, our families, you know, a big reason too why I was able to come back. But,
And more recovery.
Yeah.
more life.
More life. More life recovery.
recovery.
Yes, yes.
Give you more choices so that you can
Yeah.
have more life.
To be
Yes,
honest,
absolutely.
without a support system, it's hard.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard.
For
It's
sure.
hard.
You
It's
got
hard.
nobody to pick you up when you fall. It's
hard
and to
because-
encourage you to keep going. Right? Because you fall. It's like,
Absolutely.
who's telling you? Nobody's telling you to get up and try again. You're going to stay
Absolutely.
down.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or when you fall, you don't fall that much. Because you got people right under you. They grabbed you before you hit the ground. So
Yeah.
then he's like, all right, I only lost a step. And then I could keep going. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Real
Yep.
support don't enable bullshit.
No.
You know what I mean? They tell you how it is.
Yeah, tough
Not
love.
at all.
Tough love.
But today, a lot of people are so sensitive today. You tough love. It's like next thing you know, you got charges.
They want you
brought
locked
against
up. They want you locked
Exactly.
up.
You're
Exactly.
harassment.
Mother told me to get clean.
Motherfucker,
He
I'm trying
told
to-
me to get clean. I want to sue his ass.
But he was screaming at me. Now I have PTSD. He told me stop smoking crack. He could have said it in a nice way.
Yeah.
But now I can't sleep at night. Come
Yeah.
on. But you know what I mean? It's like trying to save your life here. But
Bring back tough love.
anything else?
No, that's it. But I had a great time with
No,
you
we
guys
had a
here
great time
today,
with you
chopping
too,
it
man.
up.
Talk
and,
about
and
the first
talking
time you
about
met Lilo
our life.
Brancato. No, I'm just,
Yo, you the greatest,
The
man.
first time
Thank
I
you.
met Lilo Brancato, I saw a crazy kid, and now he's a crazy man.
full-headed hair.
And now he's a crazy bald-headed man.
But I'm gonna tell you right now,
He works it. He works it.
I'm gonna give both of y'all flowers. Y'all look great.
yeah, I'll go to Bosley
you.
instead of
You know
going
what I
all the
mean?
way out there.
Thank
Nobody's
you. Thank
listening.
you. Thank you.
Before we go, I ask all our guests this:
Yes.
how do you deal with depression, if ever depressed?
How do I deal with depression? I read the Word of God. Because in the Word of God, there is life. When you're depressed, it's leading you to death. People who are depressed want to kill themselves. People who are depressed want to jump off buildings. But when I read my Word, I know that I'm here for a purpose, a reason. I know that God has a will for my life, and I just try to stay aligned with what that is so that I can live my best life.
And reading the scriptures is like a reminder
And reading
of
the
your
scriptures,
purpose and
yes.
what life is really about.
Exactly.
I've said this before, but depression is defined as anger turned inward
Yeah.
on ourselves. So that means when we're depressed, we're angry at
Yeah,
ourselves.
angry at
For
ourselves.
whatever reason, we're angry
Right.
at ourselves, and that's why it does lead people
Yeah.
kill themselves.
And in this business, you can definitely be angry at yourself. You can definitely deal with not feeling good enough or not feeling like you are appreciated enough for the things that you've accomplished, or feeling like you should have accomplished so much more. But when you read the word tells you that you're a winner. You have victory. You find joy in there, and it pulls you up, because it doesn't matter what anybody else is saying. If God is saying these things to you and he's the creator, it doesn't matter what anyone else is saying about you, or you.
Yeah.
God is real, man.
Well, nobody knows you better than the guy that created you.
Exactly.
So don't worry about all this other stuff that people that don't even know you are saying. Half these people don't
Exactly.
even know you, but the one that made you is the one that
The
you should
one that
listen
made
to.
you is the one
So
that
scripture is how you get out of depression.
it's the living word. Yep. And I feel better when I read it.
Wow, that's great.
I feel revived, So I feel like I'm drinking water, and sometimes I get overwhelmed, with, what I'm being fed. So it's that scripture that says your cup runneth over, immediately when you take your mind and put it into a positive space, things turn around. You keep your mind in a negative space, nothing changes. It gets worse. But if you fight those feelings and you turn that into all the positive things that's happening, then you see victory.
Wow.
I felt that.
That's great.
I just wanted to give y'all flowers because, man, you guys were a big inspiration of my childhood growing up. So for me to be sitting here next to you guys on the Culture Project is huge. And it was probably one of, besides me and him doing the show, like top 3 things in my life. Just being here with you guys.
Yay.
You being from Gun Hill, you being from Yonkers,
Yonkers.
2 movie stars, you know what I mean? This is
Thank you.
Thank you. I
Yay.
appreciate you
It's
guys.
awesome. I appreciate
Stay awesome. It was a
being
pleasure
here.
meeting you.
Thank
It was
you,
a
Taral.
pleasure
Really.
meeting you too. Absolutely,
it was an
absolutely.
absolute
We're
blessing.
now adults.
Freddie's got a couple of pictures that these are nice too.
We're no longer kids.
No,
you
we're
know.
not.
And if anything, that's your camera right there.
Oh, okay.
So, well, this is my
He would
favorite.
like for you to sign this while the cameras are still rolling. That's his
Okay.
certificate of authenticity.
I ain't selling
What do you
that.
what do you want on it?
I want,
You better.
yeah.
You got some shit.
James Taral Hicks.